All right, rock and roll. Here we are. Saturday, March 9th, 2025. Welcome to the Scorched Earth Podcast, political podcast. I'm your host, John. I'm JT over on the sports side. You know, it seems a little edgier, a little hipper, even though I'm not. I'm way bad in terms of being cool. I get cool from other people, right? So if you could, first and foremost, hit the like and subscribe button. It means a lot to us. Appreciate what we're building here, and I appreciate you listening. If you could, leave a comment. I'm getting better. I'm getting better at answering those comments. Not knowing English as a first language is always an impediment, but I'm trying to get there. So I'm gonna give you a little joke. We're gonna start out today's podcast with just a little joke. Why don't Americans eat snails? Because they want fast food. Gee, John, I can see why your podcast isn't a success yet. Okay. Hey, don't hate, okay? So we're going to start out with a little story. I went to a fast food establishment today, and one of the things they like to do, or at least this one, is they like to set up all these kiosks so you can't deal with the human being, right? They're trying to eliminate jobs. That's what they're trying to do. You know, it's already hard enough being a working class human being, blue collar person, and then they're just trying to take that away from you, right? So I go in there, and my default is I pay cash. Okay, I'm a cash guy. I'm not really a card guy. Yeah, occasionally I am. But for the most part, I like to have the cash. It keeps me inside my lanes, right? It keeps me inside, theoretically, a budget, right? Really doesn't, because when I run out of cash, I go to the ATM, okay? I wear out my ATM card, right? So I'm in there, and it's this place called Del Taco, and they got a couple kiosks, and so I have a coupon. My mom gave me a coupon the other day. Now, I'm not really the coupon guy, but I was like, oh, okay, I could save $4. You know, hey, when I am a big podcasting superstar, okay, and I'm riding on dubs, see, I told you I was hip. And I'm going around in a limo or whatever, then I don't need the coupon. But until then, yeah, I'll try and save the $4, right? So I go in there, and I asked the lady, I said, hey, I got a coupon. She goes, well, you can just use it at the machine. And I said, well, I'm going to pay cash. And she goes, okay. You'll do your order, and then you'll walk up here and pay it. And I'm like, oh, my God. Okay. All right. Hey, I'm becoming a tech bro. I'm getting into that zone, right? So I go up there. I make my order. I try to scan the coupon. Doesn't work. Then I go up to the register, and she says, you made the order wrong. Okay, that didn't really come as a shock. Anybody who knows me with technology knows there was about a 98% chance that was going to be the final verdict. And so she does all of her little shenanigans. And then I said, well, what about the coupon? And she goes, oh, you got a coupon. I said, yeah, it's laying right here on the counter. And she goes, oh, okay. And then we get through all that. And then I said, okay. She says it's going to be, I don't know, $12, whatever it was. And I said, okay. And I start peeling out green. She goes, you're going to pay cash? And I said, yeah, it is the legal form of currency in America, right? She goes, oh, I was just thinking you were going to use the card. And then we kind of have like this staring contest. And I'm like, well, I'm just going to give you cash at the end of the day. And it seemed like, I don't know if that was going to be some type of inconvenience. And I was like, wow. This fast food thing is really working out great. Now I got to go find fast food that I can actually talk to a human being. I don't know if that's something wherever your part of the country you're in, but man, here in Southern California, that is becoming very, very prevalent that you don't even get to talk to the cashier. They want a little kiosk. They want you to use your card, whatever. Just another way they can get rid of another job, right? No big deal. So another story. We're in the fast foods, okay? I'm trying to stay in the fast food lane, right? So the other day, I'm with super producer Stacy, And we are at In-N-Out. Okay, that's a pretty popular hamburger chain here in Southern California. They don't have kiosk, love that. They don't have a rewards program, love that. They have good food, economical prices, very fast, very clean, basic menu. Okay, I don't know if you know In-N-Out, but I was asking Stacy while we were there. I go, it's amazing though. They don't have large French fries. And then Stacy, God bless her, she says, well, the fries are adequate as they are. I understand that for you, Stacy, when you only eat 250 calories a day. But for the rest of us carnivores out there, maybe we want a large French fry. And I said, well, they got large hamburgers. They got a double, and they got large drinks versus a medium or a small. I said, why don't they have a large French fry? And she goes, I don't know. I'm trying to deflect so she doesn't realize that she's already going to have to spend another 30 minutes fixing all this stupid stuff I've already done, right? But she doesn't say anything. So it's always awkward. It's like she's in there and she's working on the phones. She's trying to figure out the software, and literally it's like mother duck, baby duck. I'm following everything, and I really don't even have a clue what she's talking about, right? But I'm just doing the nod. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I hear. Oh, wow, that's amazing. I don't got a clue, right? So I start listening to the table next to me. And the manager of In-N-Out is interviewing this potential employee, right? Young guy. And I can hear the conversation going on. And she's saying, and it's just amazing the questions coming out of her mouth. She says, so why do you want to work here? And then the guy goes, oh, I just love working with people. All right now we already know he lies. Okay, because like nobody in their right mind likes working with people. I didn't, and I was in construction. And I'm theoretically an extrovert, right? Then she says, well, I see on your resume that you worked in the restaurant industry. And he goes, yeah. And she goes, what do you like the most about working in the restaurant industry? I'm just sitting there thinking, what an insane comment. What's insane questions these are. The reason you like working, and there is no real reason, it's the paycheck. Right? We're only doing it for the paycheck. Show me the money. Where's Jerry Maguire, right? At the end of the day, nobody, and when these people go, oh, I'd come to work if it was for free. I know literally that is a psycho killer. That is an insane human being, because nobody in their effing right mind likes getting up and going to work. I don't care what they say. I mean, I would become psychosomatic if it could get me out of work, right? Oh, but I love coming here to the podcast. No. So she's asking, she goes, well, what don't you like the most about the restaurant industry? And I'm thinking to myself, this guy, if he doesn't say the people he has to deal with every day, then this dude's a big effing liar, right? And he's like, oh, I sometimes it's tough when a customer is a little unreasonable. And I'm thinking, Jesus, aren't most of them? A lot of people are just total jerks, right? They're demanding whatever. Look, at the end of the day, what's the saying? The customer is always right. Okay? That's just how it is. People, and anybody who's listening, anybody who works, they know what I'm going to say is unequivocally the truth. When you work for someone or something, you get beat up. You are literally like the punching bag in the gym. Now, how much you get punched depends on the people you're working with. But nobody comes out unscathed, right? Nobody comes out without scars. And I'm thinking to myself, and then he's saying, I'm a people person. Yeah. Why don't you just tell him you want the money? Why don't you just tell him you really want a job? You want the money? I mean, really, I used to hire for my dad's company. And my dad would always tell me, he'd say, you know what I want you to do? I want you to give people who are coming out of jail or whatever, I want you to give them a chance. And I was like, okay. And honestly, there's good and bad anywhere. I found that quite a huge number, I'd say over 50% of the people who were, coming out of a jail or a prison or whatever, were usually the guys who were really trying to turn their life around were actually the best workers. I don't even know why we got started on that. I don't know. Why do you get me? Why did you deflect me? All you people out there, why are you deflecting on me? God, I can feel your energy. But at the end of the day, even a successful place like In-N-Out, the manager asking questions like, why do you want to work here? Oh my God, it's the effing money. It's the goddamn money, man. What do you think? Why do you think Trump got into politics? So he could rip us off. So he could just increase the corruption. That's all the cat's trying to do. And on a happy note, Stacey did solve the problem again, like she always does, and then just tried to walk me through. Of course, that didn't work. We had to do another take to figure out the first thing she told me because, and God bless her, she's just awesome. She said, the next time we meet, can you bring a paper and pen so you can write it down? I was like, that's a really good idea. I got paper and pen. That's probably what I should do. I'm going to have a book bigger than a Gutenberg Bible. I'll tell you that before we get going. All right. I don't know. It's just kind of a funny thing. All right, let's start off with what we got in the news today. Trump, once again, is threatening tariffs on Canada, including 250% on dairy. Now, 2 days ago, he said he was going to delay tariffs on Canada for a month. And then yesterday, he said that there was going to be a 250% tariff on Canada. I don't know. Maybe you guys can help me. I'm just thinking maybe it's his time of the month. Maybe he's just erratic. Maybe he's just crazy. I don't know what's going on. I don't know how it changed from Thursday to Friday to Saturday. It literally seems like we're giving him some fentanyl. Then we're going to put a little Coke in there. And then we're going to put a Red Bull, and we're going to just see what kind of little creature we can create here, Dr. Frankenstein. You know what I mean? I don't know. And so it's kind of like, if this was Final Jeopardy, the question would be, what is the day he finally calls off tariffs for Mexico and Canada? And the answer would be the day the antibiotics finally start working on his venereal disease. You know what I mean? I mean, even erratic people are like, that dude crazy. That dude's straight crazy, right? And I keep wondering, and like I brought up, he told us increasing tariffs, were going to eliminate paying taxes on Social Security, overtime, even some personal income tax. We're going to get a refund. Well, if you keep delaying it, what's going on for us? Hey, come on, let's just figure it out. Quit talking out both sides of your mouth or your butt, whatever you want to call it, right? At the end of the day, Jesus Christ, right? Now, on Friday, he said from the Oval Office, it's just amazing this guy's got a microphone. It's just amazing how he won the election. Going to lower prices on day one. Oh, well, there's going to be some pain. Yeah, I guess things change, right? They changed. So he said Canada's been ripping us off for years on lumber and dairy products. Wow, that's a new one. You haven't seen that. Donald Trump being the victim. Citing Canada's roughly 250% tariffs on U.S. dairy exports to the country, Trump said that the U.S. would watch the tariff. Now, I started digging deep into what is this all about. Okay, what are we doing here? Now, the Canadian Trade Minister, it's Mary Ning, pushed back saying it wasn't true. Oh, wow. Trump lied. Just like the guy at In-N-Out saying he liked working with people. Maybe he's going to be our next president. So here's the facts on what's going on with these dairy tariffs that he's talking about. The Canadians have basically a 250% tariff on certain milk, but it is a sliding scale tariff. And it only kicks in after the U.S. dairy exports hit a certain threshold, okay? After they sell us so many, which is equal to what they sell us. I couldn't get the number, okay? But for argument's sake, let's just say 25 million, okay? Anything over 25 million, which is what they export to us, goes to the 250% tax. So this just in, you're going to be surprised. They've never reached that threshold. The United States has never reached that threshold. Oh, wow. So there's a theoretical tariff. He is saying that's the reason he's going to impose that on their real-time products. You know, it's like, you know, saying, I'm going to really go out. When I go out with that really hot person, I'm going to really show them what I'm all about. But you never go out with the really hot person, so it doesn't really matter, right? So let's dig a little deeper into it. The USDA in the last 2 years has spent more than 17 billion. Excuse me. Take it back. Last 20 years has spent 17 billion in subsidies for dairy operators. All right. Biden increased the subsidies to dairy farmers to increase production of organic milk and other products. Green. Okay. 2023, the USDA gave $100 million for this, and it was focused on small dairies. Now, a small dairy is considered any dairy that has less than 1,000 cows. Wow. There must be some big effing dairy farms out there if 1,000 cows is a small dairy. And this was to help them compete against the big dairies, right? Gave $100 million, which I like seeing the small guy. But at the end of the day, you know, when you talk about, well, we can't get steel from other countries because their government subsidizes them, make no mistake, our government subsidizes our farm industry with the agricultural department, with the subsidies, okay? That's what they do. And if you want to get them swallowed up and it becomes big pharma, not the pharmaceutical, but big farms, you know, that's what you're going to deal with, right? Now, this was another act. God, Joe, we miss you already. Another act of the Joe Biden. It was called PMVAD, and it's called Pandemic Market Volatility Assistance Program. Who the fuck comes up with these names? I'm telling you, I literally look at it, and I'm looking at that, and you know what I'm seeing? I'm seeing a 22-word score in Scrabble. Okay, this was all part of a $350 million program that Biden instituted to help middle to small farms compete in the export market so that they could deal with logistics issue, housing, warehousing, things like that. To me, it sounds good. Personally, I'm about small business. You know, the economic blackout that happened last Friday, I was all for it. I did. Usually on a typical day, I probably spend $10 to $20. I didn't spend any money that day. I adhered to it because you know what? At some point, you got to put your middle finger up and go, you know what? I'm sick of it. And look, I'm tired of the argument of, well, you know, you're just going to spend it another day. I don't really care. I want them to feel a little pain. I do. And these corporations, the way they work, they are charting everything minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day. And if there's a day where they drop 30, 40%, they start to get aware, like, ooh, trouble could be brewing, right? As far as I'm concerned, we ought to do an economic blackout one day a month. I do an economic blackout like 3 or 4 days a month, but it's because I have no money. I'm forced into it, right? I'm like collecting cans or stuff, you know? Okay, the economic blackout's going to be lifted when I'm able to recycle these bottles and cans, right? All right, some more odd things in the news. As Trump dismantles the Department of Education, we talked about this yesterday, they still don't know what to do with the student loan program. The student loan program is an arm of the Department of Education, and it accounts for $1.64 trillion in student loans. We get rid of the education department. What are we doing? And also, let's talk about Congress has to authorize getting rid of the department, even though Trump's found a cute little way around it by just not funding it, which, you know, like I said, in 4 years when I'm president, I'm just going to cut the funding to the Defense Department. Let's see what kind of little Rumpelstiltskin moves they pull that day. Oh, you can't do that. You know, Trump did it. Did it to USAID. Did it to the Department of Education. He did it to the Commerce Department. He did it to the Social Security. You know, he just wants to stop making a payment. You know, it's like, and this is really where Trump is, and this is what an infantile idiot he is, okay, I got bills, and what I'm going to do is just not pay those bills. And then, thus, I'm saving money. Doesn't really work that way. You still owe the bills. Now, what he's trying to do is just trying to wait out the contractors. They got $2 billion in USAID, which in the federal government scope of things is nothing. And he's basically just hoping all the contractors go away. That's all he's doing, right? Yeah, they'll sue. They'll put up a thing, but we'll end up winning because we have endless lawyers in the Department of Justice, and we'll just keep fighting and stalling and blah, blah, blah. And eventually they'll quit, capitulate. Here's my favorite story of the day. And this one really gets me worked up. Yeah, there's going to be a couple F-bombs. I hope I'm past the 10-minute mark, all right? So the Trump administration said that it's pulling $400 million in assorted grants and loans to Columbia University in New York, an Ivy League school, because, as it says, they are not doing enough to stop anti-Semitic behavior on their campus. I got to give them credit. I got to give the devil his due. This is effing brilliant. This is effing brilliant. So, if you remember correctly, Columbia, in the heart of New York City, was one of the primary places where we saw a lot of protest against the Israel occupation of Gaza, right? So what Trump is saying, and this is brilliant, they have a First Amendment right to protest, but because it's against a religion or an ethnic minority, it's not allowed. It's hate speech. Like, this is a serious, serious question. And they abided by all their First Amendment rights. They are just protesting in a civil way. And Trump's saying, well, you're anti-Semitic. You're anti-Jewish. That's not allowed. That's hate speech. I'm like, wow. Now, do I have any faith the Supreme Court's going to side with the First Amendment, with our rights? No. I have no faith in that at all, because they're a bunch of clowns. There's 6 clowns on there. Sometimes there's only 5 clowns. Sometimes there's only 4 clowns. But for the most part, it's 6 clowns, corrupt clowns. And you get going with Clarence Thomas and Alito, they're as corrupt as you can be. Oh, Clarence Thomas, we just found out you got another $1 million trip. Oh, I'm going to have to amend that disclosure form from 12 years ago. Yeah, right. Forgot about it. His wife was involved in the January 6th riots. No big deal. Let's just see what goes on, right? I'm going to tell you a funny little story, though. Yeah, maybe it's not funny, but I'm going to tell you a story anyway. See, that's the genius of this podcast. It all interweaves, right? So it was last year. And I'm going to say it was March or April. And Sammy Hagar, lead singer of Van Halen, Chickenfoot, different things, had a very successful solo career. He got a star on the Walk of Fame. So I went down there to see it. It's a kind of a thing. You get to see the stars, and they wave to the crowd, and, they really don't interact. But it's their, we got to feed the ego a little. Just feed the ego a little more. All right, it's cool. I went, I fed the ego, I watched it, whatever. So I'm down in Hollywood, and I'm thinking, what am I going to do? What am I going to do for the rest of the day? I mean, I'm already in the middle of Gotham, right? And I thought, you know what? The protests are going on. I'm going to go over to UCLA. I'm going to go see where these Palestinian protesters are, because we would see them on the local news every night. Oh, look at them. They're here, they're here, they're here. They're at UCLA. Okay. So I know UCLA really well. Worked on the campus, worked on the hospital, been there off and on, for over the course of 3-4 years, right? Knew the place pretty well. So I park in the Village, which is at the bottom of the campus, and I start walking up. Now, UCLA isn't an extraordinarily big campus. It's probably, I don't know, 100 acres, 120 acres, but it's literally in some of the most valuable land in America, in Westwood, Bel Air, West Hollywood. And so they really can't expand. They have money, but they're pretty much locked in. So what they do is they tear down buildings and they build them higher, right? They build them deeper, whatever they do. So I'm walking through the campus, and, I'm watching the kids throw the Frisbees and dog going, and, I see people walking, and I'm looking for the protesters. And so finally, after about 5 minutes, you can walk from the bottom to the top of the campus probably in about 15 minutes, right? I saw the Dalai Lama there one day, right, with Richard Gere. So maybe I'll bring that story up one day. Put it in the comments, and I'll bring it up. And so I'm walking around, and I don't see any protesters. I'm like, this campus ain't that big. I should be able to see them. So I asked these kids, and I said, hey, man, do you know where the protesters are at? And they said, yeah. You're going to go up here, you're going to make a right. It's like in front of Royce Hall. All right, man. Enjoy your weed, and I head off. So I get up there, and there's like 2 or 3 people, and they're sitting on the bench, and I guess they got tired of protesting. A sign's like on the side, and they're drinking their Starbucks, because that's America now, right? You protest, and then when you get tired, you go get a Starbucks, right? Corporate power. And I go, hey, where's the protest? And they go, that happened about an hour ago. That's it. And I go, that's it? There's nothing else? And they go, no, that's about it. Wow, okay. So now I got to make the decision. I said, I could keep searching, but these guys just told me there's no more protest. And I was like, it's like 4 o'clock. And if you've ever been in LA and you're on the west side of LA, man, you better get out now. If you're not getting out now, you might as well leave at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, because the traffic just is literally like an anaconda. So I head down to the village, get in my car, and I go home. I watched that night on the local news, and literally it seemed like there was 1,000 protesters. I mean, they're coming out of the woodwork, and I'm like, how is that possible? I walked the campus. I couldn't find these mother effers. I mean, they were hiding better than Harrison Ford in The Fugitive, right? And I'm like, where the F were these people? I mean, I don't know. Do they roll them out of a Hollywood soundstage? I don't know. No. I think what happened is I started doing some research, asking some people who were down there, and they said, yeah, they keep their encampments at the base of the dorm. So when they come out of the dorm at night, they can go into their quote-unquote little encampment when the cameras come, and then they can just march around campus. And I go, wow. Well, there we go. There's protesting. This isn't the 60s civil rights marches. This is, I got a Starbucks, I got a warm bed, I got my internet connection, and when I get a little time and the cameras are rolling, then I'm going to protest. And this is what Trump's trying to stop, right? He is so thin-skinned, he can't handle any protest in America about that. Funny, didn't seem to have a problem on January 6, 2021, right? Yeah. Great. Finally, we're going to end up with investigators, sad story, in New Mexico found the cause of death for Gene Hackman and his wife, Betsy Arkawa. I'm not going to pull a Kiev here. Seems like Gene had advanced Alzheimer's and was probably alive when his wife passed away from hantavirus, which is a very infectious disease that comes from rodents. God bless her. As a personal sidelight, my dad has advanced Alzheimer's. And to me, when they said that they were both found dead, and especially when they said the dog was dead, to me, that was, she passed away, and then he didn't know how to get out of the house, how to contact anybody, or even to feed himself or get water. Because that's one of the things with Alzheimer's. They don't know how to do anything. It's really a debilitating disease, and I feel bad for Gene, and I really feel bad. I feel bad for everybody. I feel bad for the dog because the dog basically starved, right? I mean, they had 2 other dogs that somehow lived. I don't know how that all worked out, but whatever. Thoughts and prayers for you, Gene. You were a great actor. I don't know what you were as a human being. I'm not going to go into the idol worship, but rest in peace, brother. Rest in peace, you and your wife and your beautiful dog, especially the dog. Always, always love your animals. That's all I'm going to tell you. That's going to be the word of the day. Love your animals. All right. And don't be sad because we came to an end, okay? We got to share this moment. I love sharing these moments with you. I hope you do too. And let's not be sad for tomorrow. We're going to be back together again. Go out, do peace and love for the world and for yourself and for your significant others. And I will talk to you tomorrow.